So when I was younger, palagi kami magkasama ng dad ko sa construction site. Dinadala niya ako. Even when I was in high school, pumupunta kami sa site and then he'll make us inspect the site and talk about ano yung mga mali, ano yung mga tama, and what could be done better. So, Dad, if you're watching, I actually listened. I had a lot of takeaways, and a lot of those takeaways that you have given me, ina-apply ko up to this day, even for our home and for all the other projects that I am doing. And this will be the top 10 home design tips that I have learned from you, Dad. The first one we're going to be talking about is something very close to the heart, and this is all about the flow and practicality of the house versus the design of the house. So my dad always emphasized that if you were given a choice, always go with the flow and practicality because you will be living in that house for almost forever. And I say this is very close to the heart because when we were building our old home, binigyan niya ako ng free rein to design my room. And I wanted everything to be those that I see in the magazine. So one of those things was a rain shower sa gitna ng bathroom, and the bathroom all over was glass. My dad was saying, parang hindi practical na sa gitna yung shower mo, and you'll have to go way over the other side to turn it on, balik ka sa gitna, and then kuha ka na naman ng sabon kasi you can't place the sabon on the floor. Medyo okay siya for resorts, but not okay for practicality purposes. But I insisted, and my dad, knowing that he always wants us to learn from our mistakes, actually gave in. So it was nice for the first month, and after that, hindi na namin ginagamit yung shower na yun. So although it looks nice in magazines sometimes, make sure that it is also practical. And then when you have to make a design decision, make sure to put the use case first before how it looks. The second one, we've already talked about in our previous videos, and a lot of you have reacted, and it's all about making straight lines straight. We talked about how important it is to have our walls as straight as possible, but it doesn't end there. Dapat lahat ng mga columns as straight as possible. Pag tabingi yan ng konti, nakikita yan and medyo weird siya. Even the beams should be as horizontal as possible. Weird kasi if straight to and then ito tabingi ng konti, you may not notice it, but subconsciously parang may mali pag nakikita mo yung buong structure. So I wanted everything to be as straight as possible. Not just the columns, because it was steel columns, not just the beams, steel beams, but all the corners ng mga windows dapat straight, and all the roof lining, and then paminsan hindi perfectly straight. So that was one of my pet peeves talaga. I had them redo it every time hindi siya straight. Now that took a lot of effort and a lot of repeating and reorienting, but it was well worth it. If you look at the house now, kitang-kita yung mga straight lines, and I'm sure it wouldn't look as nice if tabingi yung mga lines. So yeah, keep straight lines as straight as possible. Now this next one is an advice from my lola that was given to my dad, and my dad gave to me, and we followed also in our home. When my dad was building his first home, he planned to have 2 or 3 parking spaces. But my lola insisted on 6. My dad was arguing na hindi namin magagamit yan, I won't be able to afford 6 cars, and then sayang pa sa space. But since my lola insisted, my dad agreed. And he was very thankful that he followed my lola's advice because he felt like he wasn't thinking long-term enough na darating ang panahon na kami na rin, kailangan na rin namin ng kotse pag may trabaho na kami. And meron din kaming mga parking for guests. Now I understand a lot of people don't have the capacity to provide a parking space, especially ngayon na mahal na ang properties. But if you can put that into consideration, it would definitely make your house more future-proof. So this next one will sound a little bit weird, and that is, don't repair the cracks on your walls yet. Now, when you move into your home, your brand new home, for sure, may mga konting cracks na makikita sa mga walls. And these are typically superficial cracks. Now, if you're under warranty, yeah, go ahead, let them repair it. Meron at meron pa talagang lalabas na mga cracks. Why? Because the house is still settling. Yung soil sa baba, hindi siya used to the weight of the house, or meron pa mga vibrations, let's say from the road or during construction, and even mga moisture changes. So the house is still breathing and moving. So magka-crack yun ng konti yung mga walls nyo. And don't repair it yet, because if you repair it too early, those cracks will reappear and you'll have to redo it eventually. So when you see cracks in your walls, let it be. Just like what we're doing here, meron naman mga konting cracks that I am looking forward to repairing, but not quite yet. What we usually advise is to wait about 3 or 4 years para nagsettle na ng maayos yung bahay. It's not moving anymore. So when you repair the crack, it will most likely not come back. This next one was very important for us when we were building this house. My dad insisted on us to use very thick and particularly expensive insulation sa roofing. And I was saying, oh, I'll just save money and I'll use those thin ones na makakasave kami ng few 100,000 pesos. And he advised against it, and I'm glad that I actually took his advice kasi ngayon it's very comfortable in our house. Really helps with the livability of the space. Mas malamig, and you don't have to turn on the fans all the time. You don't have to turn on the air cons all the time. And I feel like we'll eventually save more money by investing in that first. And just the comfort level of the home is so much better. So if you can afford it, include insulation as much as possible. Itong next thing is more of a project management type of thing, and that is to be always wary of where the water is running. Yung advice niya was, in a house or in any construction project, the future problems will most likely be all about water. So you have to make sure that all the slopes are going down the drain, all the rooftops na sakto yung slope, walang nagpapuddle. So even yung mga ledges namin, instead of making it perfectly flat, I intentionally made it a little bit slanted so that nagde-drain yung water. Hindi siya nagpo-pool. It minimizes the formation of any algae on that surface, and it also helps with the cleanliness of the home. So even yung mga window sills namin, meron talagang yung dating napag-usapan natin na rabbit. So kahit gaano kalakas yung rain and hangin from the outside, hindi talaga siya pumapasok because there is a physical barrier from it. So when you're walking around the house, you have to be thinking about, where does the water go? Is it going properly to where it should drain? Is it pooling somewhere? Or when this house was under construction at malakas yung ulan, I would walk around the entire space and have my flashlight and check to see if there are leaks. So one way of doing that is to check if may leaks sa taas or if may mga puddles on the floor during construction. That will give you a sign na, oh, there's a leak there. Better repair it before I put in my ceiling, mga wood ceiling, before it actually stains the ceiling. This next one is very, very clear when it comes to our house, and that is to minimize stairs and steps as much as possible. You want everything to be as accessible as possible, especially pag medyo may edad na tayo. Gusto natin that the master's bedroom or the bedroom for our lolos and lolas will be in the ground floor kasi accessible and it's hard to climb up. But not only that, it's just super convenient to be able to minimize the number of floors. And for commercial establishments, kung napansin nyo guys, sobrang hassle when the commercial establishments force you to park and then climb a few flights of stairs. Parang may something psychological that makes that establishment less accessible. Or even yung mga houses where may basement pa and then akyat ka pa to the first floor and then another step to the bedroom. Imagine doing that every day for the rest of your life. So if you are lucky enough to be able to design a house na hindi kailangan ng daming levels, I personally advise people to minimize the number of floors in their house. This next one is a big one, and I'm very happy that I actually applied this to our house. And that is to make the master's bedroom as big as possible. When we were first designing this, I said, oh, I want a humble bedroom lang. And my dad advised against it because, number one, your kids are going to be playing there paglaki na nila, or you'll want to do a lot of things in your master's bedroom aside from just sleeping or watching TV. Dapat may sofa, dapat may mga work areas, or he told us to make it the most spacious room in the house so that dun tumatambay lahat ng mga tao in the household. And that is exactly what is currently happening now. We do podcasts there. We spend most of our time there. So ang daming mga use cases, and I'm happy that we followed his advice. Number 9 is to make sure you know where the sun sets and the sun rises in your property so that you won't be facing big windows, especially in the afternoon sun. You want to avoid both sides, the sunrise and the sunset, especially the afternoon sun. The ideal would be you'd be somewhere in the middle para hindi mainit, especially us in the Philippines na very harsh yung mga rays ng sun. Sa bahay namin, it actually rises sa harap ng bahay namin. It could get hot in the morning, but the morning is not as hot as the afternoon. So we knew already that the afternoon sets in our kitchen area. That's why if you notice yung kitchen area namin, walang masyadong malaking openings, and that is to prevent it from getting really, really hot. Now, I have one other advice for that, and that is to use an app. It's called a sun seeker. Meron siyang locations of the sun in 3D view. You can trace the route of the sun during this current day, and then you can use your camera. Parang i-overlap niya na ito yung route ng sun. So makikita mo exactly where the sun rises and sun sets. The app is called Sun Seeker. And lastly, this was the advice he was giving me for this house when I was super stressed. And that is, don't expect everything to be perfect, because I was stressing out over everything. Kasi especially me, na alam ko ano dapat ang tama, ano dapat ang the best of the best, because I've been in the construction industry for quite a long time. Nakikita ko lahat ng mga mali. And I'd have them redo it and redo it and redo it. And I would never be satisfied. So my dad gave me an advice na if it's 80% to your liking, okay na yun, let it go na. It's not worth the headache. And I feel like that was very good advice, because nothing is perfect in this world. There will always be mistakes, even in any construction work, kahit high-rise pa yan, the best contractors in the world. Because a house is super complicated, there's a lot of things that goes on in a house. You can never have it 100%, believe me guys. If you do, pwede, but it will take you maybe double the time and double the white hairs in your head. So it's just the give and take talaga. Know the standards, know what is right, and then consciously know, okay, sige, I'm gonna let this go na lang. And that's what actually helped me sleep during the construction phase of our home. I hope I have given you value. I hope I can have a little bit of input in your future projects or in your future endeavors, in your future dream home. That's all I want for this channel talaga. And if you found this video valuable, hit the thumbs up. That's it. And I'll see you later.